Hey guys, we wanted to give a shout out to some of the people we have met while recording the Nashville Dads podcast. On this episode, we wanted to highlight Brandon with Nashville Restaurant Radio. If you are interested in the Nashville food scene, this is the podcast for you. Brandon has some of the most influential people in the Nashville restaurant community on his show. So check it out. Follow him on Instagram at Nashville Restaurant Radio. Welcome to another episode of the Nashville Dads. This episode, we have on Jordan Tepper from East Tasty. We talk about candy chemistry, the value of vulnerability, and dad mental health and music. We hope you enjoy.
Welcome, Nashville Dads. Today, we have Jordan Tepper. Is it Tepper or Teeper?
Tepper.
Tepper, I was right.
Tepper with
Nice.
the T.
Tepper with the T.
He is the owner of East Tasty Candy Company. So, Jordan, thank you for being on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Oh, do I mean,
You
what do I
can
have
go
to
for
say?
it.
I mean, I was just going to do the promo of being like, we're here drinking Black Abbey beer. They gave us some beer for this.
Yeah.
And that was very
we
nice
gotta
of them.
We got to call them out.
We got to say
delicious.
thank you to them. They was doing a good job. Jordan, how many kids do you have? We have to prove that you're a dad. That's step one of the Nashville Dads. Are you in fact a father?
Are you going to do like a DNA test or something?
So far, that's been
yeah.
the common response. So I need to have a DNA test.
We need to have a nurse here next
Yes,
time.
they'll just pull back the curtain behind you and be like, "I'm ready for the sample." Anyway, Jordan, how many kids do you have?
I have two. I have I have to think about it.
It's okay.
My daughter is going to be 8 in May, and her name is Sydney. And my son is 3, and his name is Arthur.
Nice.
At least you remembered your kids' names.
Depends on.
He asked me
You
what
put me
my
on the
kid's
spot.
middle name was, and I blanked. I was like, and then I could hear my wife in the background just saying, "What?"
What is wrong with you? You don't remember your own child's name?
So my kids don't really answer to their names, like because you know how some people give their kids pet names,
Yeah.
and like really cutesy pet names. Well, I gave my kids pet names for the way that they act.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
So Sydney, we call her Squid.
Okay.
Does she do this with her arms a lot?
Sid the Squid.
Yeah.
And she's just wiggly and has a temper, and so that's gone from Sid to Squid to Squid Face applesauce. I don't know, Squidney.
Squidney? Ooh, Squidney's good.
Yeah. So and then so the thing is, like, everybody at her when she was going to daycare heard me say, "Okay, Squid, let's go," and she would get up and come. And so then the teachers were like, "Oh, that's cute." And so now everybody called her Squid.
That's cute.
But now, God help anybody else that calls her Squid, because she's like, no, my name's Sydney.
She's reached that age already.
Yeah, but I can, like, it's only me. I can still call her Squid.
Okay, that's
Squid,
good.
And Squid Face, love it.
She's cool. She's cool with it.
You, whenever you announce stuff on your Instagram, you usually have her help you announce stuff. Does she like doing that?
Oh,
yeah. Does she really? That's cool.
She asks for it.
Does she?
She says, "Daddy, let's make a video for this."
That's cute.
And usually it's something that she's never had before.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that she ever ate that wasn't baby food was a tamale.
Oh.
We went to a Mexican restaurant, and so if we ever were eating something and she asked for it, she gave interest to it, as long as it wasn't spicy or it wasn't for kids, we would let her have it. And we let her make the decision. So she had a tamale with red sauce, and she loved it.
Nice.
Awesome. What age was that?
Less than 1.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Maybe right around 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's when we started as well. Probably right around 1. Thai food.
My son.
Yeah.
So,
Please.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
okay, so his name is Arthur.
Yes.
And so I was trying to think of like a cool name for Arthur. Arthur's a cool name anyway. And you guys are staring at me like,
No, I'm interested.
So Arthur, I'm like, Thor. You know how like some people are like
Arthur.
Christopher, it's like Chris, or they go by Topher or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking like Arthur,
Oh
Thor.
my gosh.
And so and then we tried that. Didn't
Didn't
do
stick?
anything.
Didn't catch?
No, didn't do anything. And then we're like, I'm like, man, Arthur, you are a little monster. So then we're like, Thor monster. And that's that didn't stick either. So now he just goes by Monster.
Okay,
Monster.
That's good.
And so when I'm at daycare and people are like, "Come on, princess," come on, cutie pie, and I'm like, "Let's go, Monster."
That's awesome.
That's just the type of person I am.
So he is a monster.
Dude,
Is he a monster?
he is a bull in a china shop. Yeah, if we had to tell my parents to make sure that everything his height and one higher
Yeah.
is gone. And my parents have glass tabletops,
Oh, yeah.
wrought iron,
Yep.
table bottoms, and they have tchotchkes everywhere. And when my brother and I were growing up, we had to walk through the dining room to get to where it was. It's the den. What's the nice one? I think it's the den to get to the living room.
Yeah.
And and my parents said you have to stay on this piece of carpet. And
Oh, wow.
one time, my brother went off the carpet and had a baseball bat and broke something. We just stayed on that carpet from going forward.
How did you get into candy?
It was for my mental health.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was I've always had some sort of creative outlet, music. It mostly had to do with a lot of things had to do with music, and so then
He can relate.
Yeah, so I learned how to cook because my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, said, I'm going to be the breadwinner, and which I was okay with.
Yeah.
And I might not be home to cook, so you're going to have to learn how to cook. So I bought as many Rachel Ray and Martha Stewart and Alton Brown books and websites as I could. And so I went from just putting frozen stuff in a pan, frozen linguine with the sauce that's in the little saucers, and to then I just started cooking things. And so I learned how to like to cook.
Yeah.
So we moved when my daughter turned 1, we moved back to Nashville. It's our second time living in Nashville from Portland, Maine.
Oh, man. Beautiful.
Yeah, it was great. And so we moved back to be practical. My in-laws live in Bellevue, which is, for everyone listening, west of Nashville.
Yeah.
My wife grew up here. We have instant friends. They all have kids. So it made life really easy. I had a job that I thought was going to be my dream job. And it ended up being a nightmare. Pardon the cliche. It wasn't good. It wasn't good on my mental health. I was having panic attacks going to work, coming home from work. It was a rotating schedule. I had to wake up at 4:30 a.m. I got home at 6 p.m. And I just never got in that circadian rhythm. So I was just always a zombie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was miserable. So one Father's Day, I believe, my wife got me a candy making book. And I said, and I put it down. I'm like, thanks, this is wonderful. It's really great. And I'm looking through it. I'm like, marking pages that I would want to cook. Mm-hmm. But essentially, it just went in the bookshelf.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was feeling really down. And my wife was like, why don't you just make some candy?
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And so the first thing I wanted to make was lollipops.
Mm-hmm.
And
Awesome.
so I taught myself how to make strawberry lollipops. So I went out and I got strawberries. I got vanilla. I went out and got all the ingredients that it said there. And it was kind of a nice cathartic way to zone out for those couple of hours and figure things out. And so after I made it, I was really proud of myself. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Okay, well, I made this now. What do I do? I have to eat the lollipops.
It's an awful predicament to be in.
And so while I was making this, I'm like, this had real strawberries in it. So it was as natural as it could be.
Yeah.
But it still didn't taste like, the lollipops that you get from the bank. And so that's when I just started messing around with recipes. Okay, what do I have to do? So I looked up, how do I get things sour? How do I get things sweeter? How do I change this? And so I did a lot of research on Dr. Internet and figure things out. I also COVID started to like when COVID happened, I was working at another job that ended up being soul sucking, and it was okay. It was like a job that was supposed to be for a year, ended up being 3 years.
There you go.
And so that's when I was really starting to develop recipes because we were home, and this app called Clubhouse was on, and it's like it's not visual, it's audio. So you go into a room and you hear people talking, and you just see their avatar, and that's it. Like there's no moving around. And so I was going into foodie rooms and talking to home chefs. People said that they were professional chefs. I don't know who they actually were, but like you kind of made this community of foodies and people that just like to eat, and you're passing ideas around. So like I would just like make something, and I would have this batch, and I had nobody to share it with. Yeah. And so I would just send it to people just send it to random people. Yeah. I asked, like, I had this batch of candy of something, and whoever would like some, just DM me your address, and
I'll send it on over.
I'll send it over. And people are like, oh yeah, it was amazing.
Oh, that's great.
And some people are like, yeah, I'll post about it. And they're like, I ate it before I posted it. Okay.
Which means it was good.
Which it was good. I started to because Clubhouse is a 24-hour app and it's audio, there's people from all over the world would be going on at all different times of the day and night. Right? Yeah. So one day I caught an Indian room. Yeah. Like all these people from India. And they were talking about chai. I love chai.
I love chai.
And so they were talking about like how they like to prep their chai, what spices they like to use, what type of milk they like to use, how they cook it. And I was just getting really inspired. And I actually made a chai marshmallow. Oh. And so I actually ordered the chai from a farm in India.
That's really cool.
It was just like, I asked my friend who's Indian, and I was like, okay, what type of chai should I get? And she gave me the website for this one farm. So I got some chai from there. It was really good. And I brewed it and I put it into a marshmallow. That's when I started to like messing around and saying like, what flavors do I like and how can I candy it? Can this be candied? Yeah.
So chai marshmallow.
When my wife was pregnant with our first kid, she would have like random cravings. She'd be like, I want a s'more right now. And I'd be like, can you make a s'more cookie? I bet you can make a s'more cookie. So that was all the inspiration. I feel like I've made like very random cookies, like s'more cookies, or I made key lime pie cookies once just because someone was like, I want to eat this. And I was like, I bet you can make that a cookie. Yeah. Let's just try it out. And like, once you open up that door in your head, you're like, oh, everything's accessible now. Right. And it's really cool. It's really fun.
It is. And so enough people said, are you selling this?
Yeah. That's awesome.
And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just making it for my own enjoyment. Yeah. One time I was I was over at the Music City Center, and it was like the home show, and I brought some of my caramels that I made because I was running the home show. I was running a booth at the home show for the job I was working at, and there was a guy selling caramels. So I said to him, like, here, can you try one of my caramels and just tell me what you think? Like, you sell this stuff. You must be the professional. Yeah. So he like tested me. He's like, what type of dairy do you use? And I said, heavy whipping cream. And he's like, okay. Then he's like tasting it again. He's like, are you selling this? And I'm like, no. He's like, good.
That's a good sign.
Awesome.
Okay. And so, then I was just like, okay, I want to learn how to make gummies. Like, oh yeah, Haribo gummies are my favorite, and Jelly Bellies, okay, like jelly beans, are my favorite.
Okay.
And so I looked up recipes on how to make jelly beans. There's a lot that goes into the formation and the crust and everything, and I'm like, no, this is just not going to work.
I'm good.
And so then I was like, all right, how do you make gummy bears? Yeah. And so there were some like cheats, like where you would like melt down certain candy and just form it in. I'm like, no, that's cheating. Like I got to start from scratch. And so like trying like different things, I learned how to make gummy bears. And so I say that my gummy bears have the texture of a Haribo gummy bear and the flavor of a Jelly Belly.
Do you use like gelatin packs? How do you get it to become like solid, basically? Not to give away any of your trade secrets.
No, I mean,
I'm just intrigued by gelatin.
Everything that like people are like, what's your secret?
Yeah.
And my wife is like, don't tell them how to make it, because there's some people that I've just like given the recipe to.
Yeah.
You could find it on the internet.
You might have Googled it first to create the recipe.
Yeah.
You can't copyright, but like,
Yeah.
like you know, you guys probably heard this before, but I believe that when people put recipes to the public, that they know works and they might have marketed and made money off of it. I think when they tell people how to make it, they don't publish the correct recipe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they do that, one, to protect some of their trade secrets, but also, you know, you figure it out on your own. Like I spent months on this.
Mm-hmm.
And so like when I had a dog treat business, I made dog treats at one time and sold them on Etsy, and Ruby's Treats.
Okay.
Ruby's
It
Treats.
was named after my Cocker Spaniel. And so like somebody actually asked me, hey, can I have the recipe for it? I'm like, no. Like
I worked hard at this.
I sell this. Like
Yeah.
if you want it, you could buy it from me, or
Yeah.
you could just look up a recipe online. But I'm not going to give you the recipe.
give you it.
But yeah, I use gelatin. I've tried not using gelatin, and it's not the right texture.
Nope.
I'm not. I also use corn syrup.
Yeah.
People are like, well, what if you don't want to use corn syrup? I mean, corn syrup is not bad for you. It's not good for you, but it's not bad. But you're also eating candy.
Yeah.
You're
And
not supposed to be eating
I
something
want
good
the
for
low
you.
fat, no butter cookie.
Yeah.
Don't eat a cookie.
Yeah.
Right.
What are you doing?
And
That's not a cookie.
and yeah, it's like the Girl
something
Scouts
else.
put out a gluten-free cookie, and it's
What are you
No.
doing here?
yeah. And so I've tried to make like stuff that to fit some sort of niche, and it didn't come out to my standards.
Mhm.
I even tried to make do a copycat recipe for Swedish fish,
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
and there really is no recipe online that I have found for Swedish fish.
Yeah.
So Swedish fish, they use pectin
No idea what that is.
potato flour, potato starch.
Oh, yeah.
So
Really?
Swedish fish is
Thickening.
Swedish fish is at least vegetarian.
Oh, okay.
But
Did you know that gelatin is not vegetarian?
I don't know any of this stuff.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so gelatin's not.
I'm learning
vegetarian.
It
everything.
has like pork in it. My
Oh,
mom
okay.
is allergic to pork. A lot of gelatin is used on like pills and stuff to help it like be easy to consume. So if gelatin's on it, it's actually has pork in it. So
Yeah.
gelatin is not
Man,
vegetarian.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's basically melted down
Animal hooves?
animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Animal hooves?
Maybe. Yeah.
It's like mystery meat. It's
Yeah.
like,
it's a hot dog.
So like the hot dog, yeah,
Yeah.
or the bologna.
I mean, unless it's like specifically says that it's beef, made from beef,
Yeah.
then you can almost self-assure that it's made from pork.
Yeah.
And so
There you
yeah.
go.
And so trying to make, I bought the molds like that look like fish.
Mhm.
And I tried over and over again using pectin, using all this type of stuff, and people are like, "Have you used this ingredient in this recipe?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I have, but it's expensive."
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make something that I can make a lot of, and not have to charge you guys a lot of
Yeah.
money. So like if I'm making something with like say like monk fruit, it's not like I can just go to this grocery store
Where do
and
you
buy
even find monk fruit?
at Publix.
Okay.
And buy like it's a sweetener, monk
Okay,
fruit
cool.
sweetener, like monk fruit sugar in the raw. Like first of all, it has a different boiling point. It has a different taste.
Wow.
It has a totally different structure, and so I am not going to do that. I'm making things that are my standards and what I would eat.
Mhm.
Yes, candy actually has a pretty scientific look to it. Like you have to have you use sugar, right? White sugar, and those crystals are large. And so you have to have a sugar separator. And that's why you would use corn syrup, because the corn syrup molecules go in between the sugar molecules and separate them so it doesn't crystallize. And like I've tried to...
so you're basically a chemist.
I guess.
A delicious chemist.
I never took chemistry, but yeah, I guess so. And it's just
fascinating. Though.
Yeah, it's just like reading. Never stop learning, kids.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so I'm now like able to look at a recipe and say like, this is not going to work. Somebody gave me a recipe for toffee, and it didn't call for any type of sugar separator.
Yeah,
and it immediately seized up and crystallized.
Okay.
And like it took me days to get this recipe down, and I'm like, I want to get this right.
Yeah,
I want to get it how it was written down, because it's written down by one of my friend's grandmothers, and I'm like, I want to get this like how she does.
You
it.
know it works.
No, I don't.
Oh,
I don't actually.
But it's a grandma's recipe,
right? I had to change it to make it good.
You can't say the friend's name on the episode. Break the grandmother's heart.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
And but I ended up like zhuzhing it up, and I gave it to my friend, and she's like, "This is delicious."
Yeah.
I never made it to her grandmother, but whatever.
One of my favorite things about cooking is to find a recipe and to like, I think every single ingredient is an opportunity to personalize. So if it is like all-purpose flour, I'm like, well, what kind of all-purpose flour do I want to use? Salt? Do I want to use kosher salt? Do I want to do sea salt? And then like you can make something so special and so unique. And I think that's like the most fun about cooking, whenever you arrive to this level where you have confidence. Like even for these snickerdoodles, whenever I creamed the sugars and then added eggs, it didn't call for a teaspoon of vanilla. And I'm like, I can't make a batch of cookies without a teaspoon of vanilla at this point. So I added it and it turned out well. But like the familiarity with it is where you just look at it and you're like, I'm not doing that.
Exactly. Well, and that's where, like, with flavors and messing with flavors, I always thought about, like, what flavors do I like?
Yeah.
And what flavors go together. So I bought some books on not flavors, but soda making books.
Ooh.
And cocktail books, because those are all flavors that go together.
Yeah.
Right. And so whenever somebody was like, can you make me some candy? I'm like, sure. What flavor do you like? And I'm like, before you answer that, what flavor would you ever want? Right. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, if you could think of it, I could probably make it.
Yeah.
And because I have also 50 flavors at like in a box at my house that I ordered online. And like, so I had like kiwi, I had cantaloupe, I had
Cantaloupe gummies.
or
I think that tastes good.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd try it.
I had like root beer, I had blackberry, I had ginger, I had just had capsaicin in a bottle.
What is that?
Yeah.
That is the chemical in peppers that make pepper spicy.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow. So they
Abstracted
from
Yeah.
from the wow.
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
So I made candy out of like was just capsaicin.
Yeah.
And so it starts off really sweet because it's sugar, and then slowly it starts heating up.
Yeah.
And so that's why I did with the spicy margarita. I used tequila, lime, Cointreau flavor, and capsaicin, and it's really good. Tastes like you're chewing.
So are you like
That's so cool.
the favorite friend in your group because of this?
Yeah. Yeah. I called myself the Willy Wonka of East Nashville.
That's awesome.
Like even these marshmallows, they're not just vanilla marshmallows. One of them is strawberries and cream. Ooh. So the top half is strawberry, and the second half.
Oh, I see now.
If you can, I'm going to leave the sounds of the bag in the episode.
Yeah,
As well.
ASMR, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
oh, it's so weird.
What is your favorite flavor of gummy that you...
I liked mango when I was making mango. I liked pear.
Yes, pear. Oh, man.
Because like one of my favorite Jelly Belly jelly beans is pear.
Yeah.
I like bourbon and cola. So like and that's
I see
on my
you
website.
got some that are in the shape of a little bottle.
Yeah. So anything that and I did that for a reason. One, it's cute. And so cocktail gummies are in the shape of a bottle. But also I did it for when I'm making candy at home, that my kids know that if it's in the shape of a bottle, they can eat it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
If it's in the shape of a bear or anything else, they can.
Cool.
But if it's in a bottle, they're no. So like one time I made root beer gummies. And because it's root beer, I put it in the shape of a bottle. And I was like, here, do you want to try this root beer one? She's like, my daughter's like, no. Like, Daddy, why are you giving that to me?
And you're like, oh, because it goes with the, oh, wait, this is exactly what I told you not to do.
Right.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, good for you.
So this might be a stupid question, but is there any alcohol content after you baked?
Does it cook out?
Yeah. Like you would in
Well,
like
I don't know the percentage, but it does cook out.
Okay.
But you do have the flavoring, and that's why I use strong alcohols. Like my bourbon is a bottled in bond at 100 proof.
Awesome.
The tequila I use is a Reposado, so it's like not clear and it's a little bit dark, so it still has that flavor to it. Gin, I try to use like a strong English dry gin to just because it bakes that out. And the first time I cooked with gin, it cleared out my sinuses.
Did it seriously?
Yeah, and it's fun. It's fun seeing how like bourbon caramelizes.
Yeah,
and gets really thick. Tequila is fun to work with.
Do you ever do like bourbon caramels?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are those really
That
difficult?
sounds delicious.
Caramels are difficult.
They
to get
are.
out.
Yeah.
Caramels are a fickle
Finicky.
beast.
Yeah.
Because you really don't know how it's going to come out until it finishes. And there are people who say, make sure that you use your thermometer and when you're doing caramels. I don't use my thermometer.
Ooh.
I do it all by sight and smell
Okay.
and intuition.
Do you have a pretty good sense of smell?
Not right now. My allergies are killing me. But
In general.
yeah, I think I do.
Yeah.
It's better than my sight because I wear contacts, and it's better than my hearing because I wear hearing aids.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's a good sense of sight and also just intuition by the way that it comes off the spoon. But I tell you what, I have thrown away many batches of caramel because it was either never solidified, it was just soup, or it was too hard and it would just destroy somebody's teeth.
Yeah.
But like I can also tell like after I pour it out from the pot to the pan, I kind of do like I take a spoon and I see how it settles in my mouth.
Oh, sure.
And so if it's chewy, it's pretty good. But if it just hardens right away, I'm like, oh, this is going to be iffy. But you really don't know until it's really time to cut it up. Now the candy that I made that was the biggest and funniest disaster was honeycomb candy.
Okay.
Have you guys heard of honeycomb?
No.
It's you should look it up real fast on your laptop there, and it's like air, and it's made from it's a chemical reaction with baking soda.
Okay.
And as I said, I didn't take chemistry in high school, and so
the baking soda gets all the holes in it. Okay, got it. Yeah.
yeah,
So it looks like a honeycomb. Okay.
it does. Yeah, so it looks
Yeah.
like a honeycomb. And at one time, people were making like sourdough bread and stuff.
Yes.
Well, at one time, people were trying to make this, and I'm like,
okay.
I could do this. I've never had it before, but whenever I tried to make it, like I was determined. It kept catching on fire.
Seriously?
Yeah,
Because it's so like light or so thin?
because of the chemical reaction.
Oh, okay.
So I followed the recipe, but it didn't say like I followed it exactly. But like I started killing it. Like
Yeah.
I've never seen sugar die like this. Like it started like turning brown and then
Yeah.
bubbling and then bubbling some more
Yeah.
and then black and then it's
Yeah.
just caving in
Yep.
and it's like I have killed the candy.
This is the last thing I wanted to do.
And so I was determined
Yeah.
to get it right. So it was just, and it's pretty easy to, like, it doesn't take a lot of time to do. And so I kept doing it. My wife was like, you burnt it again? I'm like, yep, burnt it again. And I'm like, I'm going to get this.
Yeah.
So it took me a couple days, and then once I got it, I said, I got it. I'm never going to make this again.
Yeah.
So, what's the texture? You may have already said this. Is it hard,
Yeah.
spongy, or is it
It's hard, spongy.
hard?
It's hard.
Hard spongy?
It's hard. It's like, have you ever like? There's a dried out sponge, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then imagine just cracking into that, and it's sweet, and you're biting into it, and it's sticking to your teeth,
Interesting.
and kind of like melting in your mouth, but sticking to your
I mean,
teeth.
it just kind of looks like that too.
Yeah.
That's why I just came up with hard, spongy when I was looking.
Yeah. Some people love it, and that's why I really don't like the taste of raw honey by itself. So, I mean, that kind of throws that out the window.
Oh man, honey.
I like
is-
honey in tea. I like,
Yeah.
but just,
On cornbread.
yeah, and people have to be careful when they're using honey. Like, so some people, instead of corn syrup, want to use honey in their candy.
Oh, very different.
Honey's an acid.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can use honey, but it's going to be a little sour. Be careful with that.
When do you normally cook? Do you do it at night? Do you do it during the day? When do you make your candy?
Okay, so I started making candy at night and on the weekends.
Okay.
So after the kids went to sleep, during nap time on the weekends, or like it was COVID, so like we had nothing else to do, right? And then like when orders started coming in more, and I was like, all right, well, I need more room. So we, because of cottage laws, it's cottage food laws. I am allowed to cook at home.
Okay.
And
You don't need like a commercial kitchen or anything.
right, I don't
Cool.
need a commercial kitchen to be a business and to
Cool.
cook. I just have to put on my labels that it's made in a home setting,
Cool.
not regulated by the USDA. And but during COVID, they lifted some of these rules, and that's when it was just like the wild, wild west of what you can make. Like, I make banana bread, I make cookies, make cookies, and like deliver.
Yeah.
But there's some really great businesses that did start off that way, like
Oh, yeah.
Fat Belly Deli. They started doing that.
Yeah.
Creep
I mean,
Hall.
Creep Hall.
Creep
Yeah,
Hall,
that's
like
started,
I mean,
That's really cool. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
so all these people, like, this is how we formed our community.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
And-
even Brandon kind of started this.
Yeah, he was like, it's COVID.
There's so
Right.
many different crafts that really got started.
Right.
Because people are at home and they're like, I'm going to do something.
And it kind of started looking like I was one of those COVID companies too,
Mm-hmm.
because I submitted my LLC like November of 2019,
Yeah.
and then everything shut down March 2020.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And so when that happened, that's when because I originally was going to be catering.
Okay.
I wanted to have a s'mores cart and go
that's
to
really
corporate
cute.
events.
Yeah, that's
and
smart.
make made to order s'mores for people.
Yeah.
And have like different flavors, just a marshmallow, and make s'mores right there.
Yeah.
Well, that fell apart really fast.
Oh yeah.
And so that's when I had to pivot, and it took me a couple months to like make a website and figure all this stuff out, because I was like, I still don't have any solid recipes. I have my I was still working full time.
Sure.
My kids and wife were home, and I wasn't really determined really to make a lot of sales. Like, I needed R&D. That's my favorite part. And so I was talking to another business owner, and he was like, you just have to light the fire under your booty and do
it.
something.
Yeah.
So that's when I started making a website. We figured out how to use Shopify. We're still trying to figure that out. It's a terrible website.
What do you ever go to farmers markets, or do you just like sell out of your kitchen and like from your website?
I tried farmers markets, but my stuff melts.
Oh, yeah, that's
Oh,
fair.
yeah.
There's a lot of factors outside that
Yeah.
aren't really good for your product.
Yeah, my stuff melts, and like there's some people out in the Nashville Farmers Market. I don't know how they do it, but like one of my friends works at Steeplechase, and so she let me set up a booth at Steeplechase, and it was like May.
Yeah, it's like the second weekend of May. It's very hot.
It was like 100 degrees. I was out there all day, so I had to figure out how to not make my stuff melt.
Yeah.
You have refrigerators?
I looked up refrigerators. I looked up like what I can do. I looked up solar powered refrigerators. Like, it was just like, how do you power this stuff?
Yeah.
Because there was no power, and I didn't have a generator or anything. So I got this huge Coleman cooler,
Yes.
and I put ice down. I just kept it in the bag. Put bagged ice down. Then I put a box over the ice as insulation.
Okay.
And so then I started layering the candy. So so that it wasn't touching the ice because moisture will ruin the candy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would do like candy box. And so the candy that was out, like after that started getting kind of like soft, I would just put that back in the cooler and then take the other stuff out. So I would be cycling it through.
Okay. Smart.
Thank you.
But a lot of work.
Yes. And so I was like, you know what? This is not worth it.
Yeah.
And so word of mouth, like when people see me at farmers markets, at least at one time, they were like, I know you. Like,
cool.
You know, it's like that made me feel good. Somebody from a farmer's market was like, I want you to have a booth here. I'm like, okay, thank you. Great. I'm still learning how to balance my time between working full time, the kids growing up now, between like what we do on weekends, what we do on weekdays, how late they're staying up. And like candy is my dream job, and it's always going to be there, and it's always going to be a passion of mine, and I can geek out on it as much I can. And I'm a foodie, not because I like good food, but I know what good food is, and it doesn't have to be fancy. And like nachos are great. Oh, gas station hot dogs are wonderful. So I can appreciate food, and food is always going to be part of my life. But also I have to earn money. I have my full-time job. My wife has a full-time job. So two of us working, and we have to make it work. So I've kind of scaled down on the candy company right now. If anybody wants to go to East Tasty Candy and make some orders, I'll be happy to make it for you. I will absolutely do that for you. But
that's good that you're prioritizing your family.
And that's the most important thing. You know, my dad was always there for me, but he also got caught up in his hobbies. And one thing that like is like a Tepper thing, that's my last name, by the way, is that we get caught up in our hobbies, and because it's our outlet. And so I started realizing, okay, I have to, when my kids are like, you're going out again? Where are you going? Like, geez, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm doing this for you. But they don't see it like that.
No.
And then also have to remember my wife is at home with two crazy kids. And with Monster and Squid. And I have to be respectful for that.
You do.
And so like when I'm asking her, like, hey, do you mind if I do this? I'm genuinely asking her. And if she tells me I would rather you not,
then you don't do
then
it.
I don't do it.
Yep.
Right. And because she's not letting me do this stuff like that I want to do. She is letting me.
No, it's I'm a stay-at-home dad. We have 3 kids. My wife works full-time. So whenever I leave, I do like Nashville Soccer Club season tickets. I do this podcast. And whenever I go to leave the house, I'm like, hey, I'm about to leave you at home with 3 kids. I know bedtime's like within the next 30 minutes, but like, we're cool, right? It's like, letting you isn't the correct word. Right. I also can't think of what it is because you're not like waiting at your wife's permission. Right. Because your relationship isn't that bad. Yeah, right. Like you give each other permission to do stuff.
Because like she'll ask.
It's teamwork. I mean,
she'll ask me, hey, I want to go hang out with my girlfriends.
Yeah.
And that is, not very often. Yeah. And so like when she wants to do it, I'm like, go do it. She said to me, like, I'm going to buy tickets to go see a concert in Las Vegas. And I was just like, go for it.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, just, thanks for asking, but I'm not going to tell you no.
Yeah.
And cause she needs to get out of town too. And, so like when I said, I want to go to Vegas with my friends, she's like, okay, just, don't lose too much money.
Yeah, pretty much. Or it's like this awareness of, if you like this past weekend, there's a Nashville Soccer Club game on Saturday, and Sunday we interviewed someone else. And my wife was like, cool, we need to watch the season premiere of Succession. What are we going to do to make that fancy? And I'm like, cool. I'll make a charcuterie board. I'll be like, Justin, we got to get out of here by this time. And we'll do that because you're prioritizing me being able to experience something. I need to make sure to prioritize you in return because that's respect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that Cincinnati game was terrible.
Oh, I don't, it was.
Yeah.
And that may be what it is, just mutual respect
It is.
between.
Not Cincinnati.
Not since he's
I'm
from
talking-
Northern Kentucky. So that was a very hard game to watch. And I'm just glad it wasn't 40 degrees and raining for this game. So, but yes, Justin, back to the sincere point that you were saying.
No, but yeah, mutual respect. I think that's what it is. It's not her letting you, it's her respecting you and respecting your wishes of what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And same for you.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Hopefully, if I do a journey or do an adventure or something like that, I want my wife to be aware of it and know about it. Like if I'm just going off to do an adventure just for me, oh, that's not like thinking about anyone else involved in the scenario, not my kids, not my wife. So like, yeah, I feel like it's more you're just like, hey, I want to do this. This is fun, right? This is cool. And you want your wife's like participation to some extent. I don't know. Words are hard.
Yeah.
Words
Yeah.
are tricky.
I know many words.
I know many words, just none that mean anything.
With the candy company, like when I bring something, like I bring these marshmallows, like, oh, did your wife make those? I'm like, no, I made them.
Yeah, I understand that 100%.
Yep.
So
You
yeah,
know,
I'm
it's
right
like,
there with you.
No, I
So-
made them. Or like people are like, does your wife help you make candy? I'm like, no,
No.
she
Me.
she has tried,
Yeah.
and she said to me, like, you make this look so much easier than
Yeah.
it really is. And but you know what my wife is really good at? The stuff I don't want to do.
Which makes a really good partnership.
You know, and the stuff that she knows that needs to get done, like the
Mm-hmm.
back end stuff. And she's really good at telling me no.
Mhm.
Because I need somebody to tell me no.
Yeah,
like
totally.
You cannot buy that piece of equipment. You do not need all
Yeah.
that flavoring.
Yeah.
That's
You
my
know,
wife as well.
Or like these dill pickle gummies that you made
Ugh.
are terrible, and you should not make them again.
I
And
commend you on trying it at least.
I did.
I,
You know,
I respect what you're going for here. Please don't ever do this again.
I wanted to make ranch flavored gummies.
Oh,
That's an interesting
That was shot
choice.
down.
that's like the most Midwest candy you could possibly have.
Everything's good with ranch.
Even candy.
It is.
And but I did make like a sriracha, a bourbon
fun.
sriracha gummy.
Yeah.
I made spicy caramels. I used like different spices, different peppers, and and those came out pretty good too. So
Do you feel like I feel this every day? My wife and I have very reversed gender norms. I'm a stay-at-home dad who cooks all the time and does all that stuff. I know I mentioned to you whenever messaging back and forth, when I take the kids to the doctor, people are like, wow, you know all your kids' names and birth dates? You must be a super dad. And I'm like, that's a really low bar. Do you feel like you and your wife are like gender role reversed? Do you ever deal with any of that also?
well,
I'm also playing into traditional gender norms by asking that
we
question.
we do
That's
not
a deep question.
we do not have
Trying.
we do not have traditional gender norms.
Yeah.
And I still I don't know much about my kids like medicines and stuff like that. There's some but it has nothing to do with gender. It's just that she just dives in and does that type of stuff.
She takes lead, and you're like,
Yeah.
cool, just let me know what I need to do.
Right. And so I have taken my kids to the doctor, and she has written me like she writes a note.
Yeah.
And I read it verbatim. And just like how when I go to get her Starbucks, she just writes out what she wants and I read it verbatim.
Yep.
And but like I'm not afraid to clean up pee.
Mhm.
I'm not afraid to help with potty training. When I take the kids out, like by myself, I'll take them both out. And we'll go to a science museum. We'll run around the park. I keep asking them, "Do you have to go to the bathroom?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, my wife is the breadwinner right now. Like, there's been times when she's made more money than me. I made more money than her. We made the same amount of money, and it doesn't hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
And I also don't know how much money I have in my bank account.
Yeah.
And that doesn't hurt my feelings either.
Sure.
It doesn't make me less of a man.
No.
Everybody's different, man.
It just and we have and our bank accounts are the same bank account.
Yeah.
And when we got engaged, our bank accounts miraculously became one.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
Same. Yeah. When we got married. Yeah. Some people don't. They keep it separate.
And that's their thing. Good for
of course.
them.
Yep.
And but for what I'll read books to the kids. We basically just start falling into this pattern that just makes sense.
Yeah.
But I can see like, okay, my wife is trying to get out in the morning and I don't have to get out as fast. I'm already dressed. I'm eating my breakfast, but she's walking around in a towel and trying to make the kids lunch.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like,
That's
you know what? I
I
know how to make their lunch.
Yeah.
And she's like, you do? I'm like, it's lunch.
It's maybe some cheese. Maybe
Yeah, it's
some
like-
That's
fruit.
usually when I would just say, "Man, that looks exhausting," and then just
And
go back.
walk away.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's like this morning she had to go to work at like really early before we all woke up. And she was all nervous that I wasn't able to get everybody dressed.
Sure.
She did help by putting their clothes out. And the night prior, she walked me through how to make lunch. And I appreciated that.
I'm a smartass. In that moment where you're like, thank you, were you actually nice, or were you like, I feel like in those moments you'd be like, oh, does the cheese go in this spot? How do they need to cut up? Like, I wouldn't be able to stop myself from being
Based on your facial expressions.
So she does have a specific spot where everything goes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's true. And when your kid gets used to it, they do kind of lose their mind whenever it isn't where it needs to go.
And she was like, okay, this is where I put the ice pack, and I put the yogurt on top of that,
To
and
keep
I
it
put
the most cold.
Put it right here, and I'm like, all right, what, you know, and
Sure,
you know
that's
what?
fine.
And I did that this morning, but like when it was time to making the lunch, I just thought of like fruit, protein, cracker. You know, what can I make? What doesn't have nuts in it? Like what is like my son has severe food allergies.
Okay.
What can he eat? What can he eat? What's he goes to a Hebrew daycare. So like what can he what's allowed in the daycare?
Yeah, gotta make
so
sure
like
everything's kosher.
make sure like no ham. All right, turkey it is.
Here we go.
Yeah. And cheese. All right, cheese. Blueberries, strawberries, crackers, whatever.
I feel like how my wife and I approach most things is like, it's kind of like who wants to take lead on it. It's the full understanding the other person can do it, but like I take lead on all the cooking. My wife knows how to cook food. I just usually don't let her because I'm the one taking lead on it.
Right. Well, my wife is a really good cook. Like she wanted to go to culinary school.
Oh, cool.
And the joke is I didn't start cooking until my late 20s, early 30s when she told me you have to learn how to cook.
Yeah.
And but now like I really can take the lead on something and start doing something. Now, my biggest the whenever she told me that I had to make macaroni and cheese, like cracked macaroni and cheese, I was like, I don't know how to do this. I didn't know how to make Kraft macaroni and cheese. I was like freaking out. Like, how do I do this? So like I was like reading the box.
Yeah.
And she's like, you make steak and you make candy and all this stuff, but you can't make macaroni and cheese.
Boil noodles and add butter and milk.
Yeah. And I'm and so yeah, now I can, I think.
Oh, we'll do a taste test of mac and cheese later.
I mean, I think I'm the bomb at ramen.
That's good.
Like I like to zhuzh up ramen.
Do you really?
Yeah. So there's I'll take like the ramen and I'll put a little bit of the salt pack in there. But I'll put sriracha, put soy sauce, and there's this ginger salad dressing, Kyoto or something like that, sour salad dressing. And I put some of that in. It's a vinegar base with like chunks of ginger in it. And it tastes really good in a little bit of a soup.
Sure.
Because the ginger comes out full flavor, and it's and the sweetness of the salad dressing really evens out the saltiness of the soy sauce and the spiciness that really makes this umami.
I'm getting hungry right
I
now.
mean, I think the balancing of flavors is the most fun and challenging part of cooking a meal. Justin, don't you agree?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. So next time we have you on, you have to cook that for us.
Yeah, basically. Do you ever? I'm a big fan of David Chang and Momofuku. Have you ever? He does his pre-packaged noodles and sells them at Target. Have you ever had those before?
Yeah.
They are fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with those.
Yeah, I have that, and that's the other thing that I judged up.
Yeah.
And those noodles, they, whatever consistency they end up at, like, because it's not like it doesn't get sticky, but they like thicken up a little bit,
do,
and
yeah.
they're not thin like a ramen.
No, they like flesh out a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
And so doing that little ginger dressing with sriracha and like whatever, and usually it's
Turns
pretty
out
good.
well?
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, oh, shouldn't have done that.
Do you think your kids will want to cook or make candy based on what they've seen you do?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Sydney is already my sous chef.
That's really cute.
She'll do the stirring when I'm cooking on the grill.
Yeah.
They love to come out and see what I'm doing on the grill. We watch so much food television that she will describe it. And the way that she is trying to describe this is like, the words don't make sense, but I know where she's going.
That's cute.
With it. And yeah. And,
It looks like you guys have fun.
We do. We absolutely do.
Now, what about your son? Still too
monster.
young.
Still, the monster is still a little too young. But like we have to be because of his food allergies. He has some like a severe nut allergy.
Yeah.
And an egg. And
Oh,
wow. So we have to be extra careful.
Is that even like if you make a bread and you put egg in it and it cooks out, or is it just like any egg at all?
I believe it has to be cooked for a certain length of time at a
Gotcha.
certain temperature.
Yeah.
So breads, like he can eat bread,
Okay.
but cake, usually not
man.
cake.
That stings for birthday parties.
I mean, he's eaten a birthday cake, but he mostly just likes the icing.
That's accurate.
that's the
If I
best
think
part
of-
anyway.
If I think
Yeah.
of how my kids eat birthday cake, yeah, that's true.
But for ice cream, it's really hard to find ice cream that doesn't have egg in it.
Mm-hmm.
And we can like complacent him with a fruit like a ice bar.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a fruit pop or something like that.
Yeah, ice pop, something like that. But also, I'll take whipped cream and put it in a bowl and make it look like an ice cream sundae.
That's cute.
And he really digs
good.
in with that. He likes now me squirting the whipped cream in his mouth, and we're doing whippets.
You've arrived as a father. We did that.
Good
we
lessons
were in my
here.
parents' house like a week or two ago. My mom did that to my like 7-year-old, and she was like, "This is great," and I'm like, "Only at Nana's house."
Yeah. So Sydney likes it, and so the thing with Arthur is I squirt it in, and he doesn't realize that he could close his mouth.
Oh no.
So he's walking around, fish mouth, going, and I'm like, close your mouth. So he closes it, and like,
No.
It spurts out.
spurts right back out.
He's a popping zit. Yeah.
Monster pimple popper.
New nickname.
That'll be my next video.
There oh God.
That should be your next taste. Oh,
You know, when I told my friends that I was coming on this podcast,
Yeah.
they were like, that's really great, and I always thought that there is not enough support for dads.
Yeah.
And when we were at the park, like moms will kind of just like look at their phones, but dads will nod at each other.
Yeah.
You know, and say, hey, what's up? And
What's up, bro?
yo, bro. And you know, and when the kids start playing with each other, and you're like this is Sydney, and he'll be like, this is Ellen, and you're like, you don't introduce yourself to each other. You're just like, I'm dad.
Yeah, basically. I'm Sydney's dad, and yeah.
Right. There's some dads that like we just clicked, and we're like, hey, you know, here's my information,
Yeah.
here's my card, whatever.
Yep.
And let's go out and if you want kids to go out and play.
Yeah.
But you know, mental health is really a big thing. Like one of my friends, yesterday I saw him for the first time. Like I text with him all the time, but I just saw him, and he was exhausted.
Yeah.
And he's like, he has 2 or 3 kids. I mean, he's one one of my good friends. I'm like, I don't know how many wives this guy has. How many wives does he have? But like he has a lot of different jobs, and he's an entrepreneur. He has like big ideas. A lot of times it's just like, how do you implement it?
Sure.
And he's like, he likes to work with his hands, you know, he's like one of those guys where you see him and you think he's pissed off, but that's just his face.
Yeah.
And
the resting pissed off face.
right. And he's like, I'm just exhausted. Like, and I'm like, yeah, man, I get it. Like, I understand. I get it. And another one of my friends, he has one kid, and he's a toddler now, and he also runs his own business, and he's just like, I'm just really tired.
Yeah.
And on one end, I want to say, I understand, I get it, and then I want to say, it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It's like, I can empathize with you, and I can sympathize with you, but there comes a point where you just have to say, yeah, it is what it is. And you drink some Red Bull. I drank Red Bull before I came here.
So wait a minute.
That's awesome.
It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. You, what the human body is able to normalize is fascinating.
Oh man.
So like my mom would be like, Jordan, this is getting back. Welcome to fatherhood. Look what you had to put us through, Jordan.
That's awesome.
So for everybody out there, Jordan's mom is Fran Drescher, by the way.
Fran Drescher, just the nanny herself. But no, it's true. Yeah, do you feel like it's easy to get your male friends to talk about their mental state, or is it more just like, oh man, are you exhausted? I'm exhausted. I mean, I also always want to have deeper conversations and feel like I'm pushing too much. Yeah. Where for someone, you being like, man, are you tired? And them going, yeah, I am, is like energizing to them.
Yeah. That's a deep conversation.
Yeah. To some people. Yeah.
You know, you read the room.
Yeah, of course.
And like, there's some guys you can say like, man, I had this growth on my toe when I look at it, or like, hey man, like, can you just like get this knot out of my shoulder? And then there's some people you're like, hey, what's up? What's up?
Yeah.
All right.
You made eye contact with me. That was a big step for you.
That's good. You know, you read the room. You see what guys are comfortable with. With me, like, if you get me talking, I don't shut up.
I feel the same way. I talk constantly too, so I'm with you.
So my biggest fear of coming on here is just rambling.
No, that's
good.
perfect.
You're good. All right. This is a ramble safe zone. So.
For me, this podcast is my therapy.
Is it really?
It is.
That's cool.
Especially getting to know new people. But Devin, we always talk probably for a half hour before the show or after the show, and we talk about just everything. Anything and everything. But mental health for sure, because my mental health.
Well, I mean, I know mental health in kids is fascinating because Justin, don't know much of this you want to discuss, but like whenever you had a kid, you took the time to get your mental health together. Like you went to a therapist.
It took
and
Haley,
like got on some med. Not that like you were a willing participant.
Yeah, I was an egotistical man at that point.
But it's hard not to be.
Yeah. And I told her that, and she was like, I had to beg and beg and beg for you to see somebody and to get help. And for me, it was just like I had to do it on my own.
You had to come to that realization first.
But yeah, definitely glad that I did start the therapy and then get on meds. Mm-hmm. But doing this has now become my therapy.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to therapy also. Mm-hmm. I started going to therapy when I was in high school, probably even before that. And it's, you know, you just have to get things off your chest. Mm-hmm. You know, music has always been a big thing in my life, and so like the music I listen to, or the friend, I take people's energies in. So like if someone has like a real negative energy, I notice it and I feel like myself tensing up, I start like, you know, distancing myself, or if I find myself acting like that too, I expect to be checked. Like somebody needs to say like, dude. And so I'm on medicine. I don't think there's anybody now that's not on medicine of some sort.
But no, it's Justin, I was thinking of it as like you finally listened to Haley because you started to realize what you would lose if you didn't take care of your mental health.
Yeah.
To some extent.
Yeah.
That's great.
which I'm glad you did.
Thanks.
yeah.
It was hard.
It is though.
And for all those people out there that are struggling, just do it. I mean, that's all I can really say.
It's worth it to show yourself the love of believing in yourself, and
Yeah.
that you can actually be something bigger and better than you currently are. Not that you're like bad or anything, but like there's a version of you that you might actually like more than you currently are. You just need to talk to someone
Yep.
in order to get there.
And,
Amen.
And even just like reaching out to talking to somebody is hard.
Yes.
It's hard. Like, you're afraid that somebody's gonna overanalyze you or is gonna break you down to the smallest minute detail.
Yeah.
And
You feel like you're vulnerable to everybody.
well, I'm glad you brought up vulnerability.
Yeah.
Because have you ever read Daring Greatly?
I actually have the book.
Oh, you do, don't you?
Yeah. I just have not.
So Daring
Not read
Greatly by Brene Brown.
Yes.
She also does TED Talks.
Yeah.
So if you're not
She's
a reader,
very good.
you can find her, and she's written other books. And Daring Greatly is about vulnerability and how vulnerability brings you closer to your family, your friends. If you're a business person in your business life, and it shows that if you show people your vulnerable side, then they will be vulnerable too.
Mm-hmm.
And that book really hit pretty hard for me. Another one was Jonathan Livingston Seagull by Richard Bach.
Oh, okay.
My dad read it when he was a kid. It's an older book, and it's about Jonathan Livingston Seagull, who is and he's like teased and said that he can't do anything, and he proves everybody wrong.
Yeah.
Then there was another book by Richard Bach. He's very deep, like thin books, but very deep, called Illusions: The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah. And it's about Richard. He puts himself as first person in a lot of his books. And he finds the Messiah. And it's not Jesus. Like, it's not a religious book at all. It's about how the Messiah teaches Richard how to be the Messiah. And the idea is not saying that you are God, but just saying that you are there. You are somebody else's savior. You are put here to help somebody.
Yeah.
And that's what you should be doing on your daily basis, is seeing how you can be there for somebody, and you will help somebody.
Yeah.
And they will see that you helped and hopefully pass that on.
Yeah.
And kind of like in this book there's some passages. It's not religious. It's just thoughts.
Yeah.
And you can kind of open up this book and have a thought, and it kind of brings you back down,
Like a meditation, basically.
Sure. And there's a spin-off book of it called The Messiah's Handbook, where it actually is all those meditations.
Cool.
You kind of just open it up.
Yeah.
And so when I was in college, I read this because I was in a bad spot in college too, and I read this, and it really helped my mental health in that sense. And so I bought copies of it and started passing it around.
Cool.
And
That's pretty cool.
yeah, and when people read the title of it, they think like, oh, what The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah, what? And and saying like, no, it's more like how. And I explained it, and I thought that it was a really good read.
All right.
So I left it up to them.
You will have to tell me that again after the show.
Sure.
I just looked on Libby and got that Brene Brown book because I feel like another person suggested it to me. So
It's a great book. Yeah. And part of it when you're reading it is geared towards women, but she addresses that was a mistake, like in the book.
Oh, really?
And I think that was part of her showing her vulnerability. And then she kind of at some point in the book changes it and focuses on men.
Yeah. That's cool. It is interesting though to get like, to me, another like way to find vulnerability is just connection to some extent. And I find it interesting what levels of vulnerability or connection exist with like male friends. Like, cause it is, I feel like you almost like feel it out. You're like probing to be like, am I asking you too personal of a question? Cause I don't think that like men don't have the ability to be emotional. I think for a lot of people throughout their entire life, they were never shown the benefit to be emotional. So you're almost trying to convince them like, hey man, it's okay if you process this. Like what you just went through sucks. Do you want to talk about it? No. Your body's still going to hold on to that pain. So how do I make sure you have an outlet that's actually healthy to do that? To me, it's talking constantly. So how do we get there to be
I think
there?
a lot of people, or at least in my instance, looked at their dad, and and my dad was a pretty stoic. I mean, he was funny, but he was a pretty stoic emotionally wise,
Yes,
and that's how it was for me.
of course.
Hold it in until I explode, and then say I'm sorry, and then just start all over again.
Which is neither. I always try to not put the association of is that good or is that bad. Just be like, is that who you want to be?
Yeah.
Don't
exactly.
say that's a good thing, that's a bad thing. Say like, this is the pattern you were in.
Yep.
Do you want to be this person? Yes. Don't change anything. Do you not want to be that person? What can we change about that? How can we make
it's a good
sure
way.
you become someone who you actually want to be?
Yeah.
And I think it's a generational thing too.
Yeah.
You know, it's really is. My dad, he took me to soccer practice. Like he was really supportive. Like he brought me into his hobbies when he was going scuba diving, and he like was there to take me to like marching band games, and like he was there for me. But he also, and he said he loved me. He laughed. He gave me hugs, you know, and everything like that.
That's awesome.
But you know, when it came to like him not liking his job and being depressed, like he hid that.
Yeah.
Sure.
He really did. And there was a few times like when I was when I moved back into their house after college, where like he was like in his office at home and just like stewing. And I was just like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm just up. I'm like, I'll just leave you to your you know. And so we've also had some talks where like he was just like, this is what could have happened if this didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like this did happen, you know. And so you could think like, well, this is what shaped us. This is what shaped our family. This is what shaped you. This occurrence to me that hurt me, like at this point, this that was ingrained in me so that and now if it happens again, I'm like, all right, well, I went through this once. This is what I did. Yeah. And I know I'll be able to get through it again. And if I see that something different is happening and I need to express myself, I'll find a healthy way to do that. Yeah. If I need to talk to somebody, I'll find a safe person to speak with.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because I do feel like our parents' generation and their parents very, in my opinion, lean heavily on the like concept of like, well, I did my best and I didn't mean to hurt you. And I understand and I agree with that because as a parent, I'm doing my best constantly, but I'm still aware that I do damage. Whenever I do my best, I still cause some damage. I'm lucky enough to have parents who will apologize and want to talk about it. I feel like I know a lot of people who they're like, hey, this hurt me whenever you did this. And they're like, well, I did my best. And they're like, do you want to talk about it? No, because I did my best. Right. I'm like, oh, it's like the most, to me, one of like the biggest basic things of being human is like, I'm going to try my best. I'm not going to be enough. What does that mean? Hopefully I admit it. That's like, and hopefully that happens. Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like that's a really big thing to me. It's like, all right, I'm trying my best. I'm not trying to be a screw up, but I'm not going to do the right thing every time. So I need to be aware of that and okay with saying I'm sorry. And then also listen. Listening to what damage you did, I feel like is very important.
Yeah. Yeah. Admitting that you're wrong.
It's real hard.
It's hard.
It's real hard.
Even like if it's with your kids and you're like, I said what?
Yeah.
Or like that hurt you? Like, I'm really sorry. I had no idea that hurt your feelings. And you know, what would have our parents said? Get over it. Like, you know, and you know, and so I mean, there's so many blogs and there's you know, satire on social media about what our parents say and what our parents do, and we watch it because you know, we think about it like when you're say like that one commercial where we have ants.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And so like when my mother-in-law, hi Susan, is in my house and she's like expired, like you know, or they say like like why are you talking to the kids like that? Like I thought I told you not to do that, you know. And by the way, my mother-in-law does talk like that.
That's good.
So I mean, we like we laugh because we can relate.
Of
and
course.
that's how we show our trauma.
Pretty much, yeah. And if you aren't willing to laugh about it, you might have some work to do on yourself. Is how it usually works within me.
Right.
Do you you do a lot of silly voices? Do your kids let you read books in silly voices? Mine do not.
They do. Yeah. They let me read in silly voices, and I love to read to them.
Yeah.
And not everybody has a kid that you can read that like a kid that has a parent to read to them.
Yeah.
So if you're one of those people, send me a DM and I'll read to your kids. But yeah, I mean, I think that putting animation, making reading fun.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really start reading until after college, like seriously reading.
You mean like you were illiterate until college? Sorry.
Yeah. What?
You want me to punch him? That's
Sorry.
a dad joke right there.
That is the worst dad joke ever. Which doesn't mean that it's a good dad joke. It's just bad.
It's pretty bad.
I'm sorry. It was there. You paused to breathe. I had to take it.
I'm sorry for breathing, Devin.
It's not the first time someone said that to me today.
And I didn't find reading fun. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah.
I didn't find reading fun.
Same here.
Until after college. And then that was my escape too, that I would just escape into a book and totally lose myself in that book, and then actually have a hangover after I finished the book.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And so for my daughter who's learning how to read and having trouble reading, we're working with the schools and our teachers to make reading fun and not a chore, and make sure that what she is doing in school is actually just what she's learning in school and not a reading test. And so I think one of the fun things now is, instead of us saying like, okay, we're going to read the Bernstein Bears or telling her what she wants to read, we're saying you can pick out absolutely anything you want. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
If you pick it up and say, I want to read this, we can do a few different ways. You can try to read it to me. We could take turns reading.
Yeah.
Or I can read it to you and you can follow me around. So we have a whole bunch of Food Network books, and of course. And so we were going through my back catalog of Food Network books, and she was going great. She likes the advertisements because they have big, easy to read words. And then she found one on HPV. Papillomavirus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know how many questions came over that through HPV and cancer?
A couple.
A couple.
Man.
A couple. It was funny. But working through this, like she wanted to read it because it was on bright pages.
Yeah.
There was people smiling, and there was a lot of colors. She didn't know what all of this meant. When it was talking about like topical creams or whatnot, and where they go, what body part they get put on, and but she worked her way through it, and she was proud of it, and I was just like, you know what?
You do you.
This is
awesome.
This is great, and this is going to make a fantastic story.
Yes.
That's awesome. How we end episodes. We do 5 questions. They're like icebreakers, just about fatherhood in general. And then we call it a wrap.
All right, let's do it.
What? Hold on, one more question.
Okay.
What bands did you listen to? Like,
Was that a question?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
That was just a point.
Okay.
Commentary. What bands did you listen to? Like, whenever you go through like dark times, who would you normally be drawn towards?
Let's see.
I'm a lover of sad things and sad music. If you can't pick up on it,
When I was in high school and college, I listened to a lot of ska and a lot of punk.
Yeah.
So from high school through college, past college, I really don't listen to a lot of it now, but I did buy tickets to see Less Than Jake.
Nice. Yeah.
So that's going to be a fun show.
That will be.
My kids really like ska.
That's fun because ska's really fun.
It's really fun. It's like the humor is crude.
Yes.
But they don't listen to the lyrics.
No, they're just feeling it.
I listened to
Was Buck 09 ska?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Southern California ska.
I listened to them, but
That's
that was
awesome.
about it.
Yeah. Man, album is in 28 Teeth is in my mind right now. And Buck 09, 28 Teeth, go look it up.
Okay.
It'll sound like a circus. And but there's I played the trombone in college.
Cool.
And so I liked anything with horns.
Yeah.
It made me get up and dance. For my friends, it was a bonding thing. In the band, it was fun. We played Real Big Fish on the marching band field.
That's really cool.
And then I was in the college radio, and I got to pick out my songs from there.
Yeah.
Most of it was punk and ska. I worked in radio stations and the promotions departments, and so I got to listen to a lot of stuff also.
Man,
Nice.
And
you guys got a lot of talking to do.
I 90s grunge.
Yeah.
Is something that I really listen to. A lot of Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh yeah.
I got to see Stone Temple Pilots a couple times. Chris Cornell. I love Soundgarden. I got to see him a couple times here in Nashville.
Did his voice translate well to live performances?
Yeah.
It seems like it would have been, you just kind of sit there and go, oh, damn.
Scott Weiland's voice did not.
That does not surprise me. I could see him doing nothing kind to his vocal cords ever in his life.
But yeah, Chris Cornell was just as he was on the album.
Yeah.
I listened to a lot of Limp Bizkit since I lived in northern Florida.
Yep.
I mean, I worked at a radio station that launched Limp Bizkit, and the radio station I was working for would call Fred Durst's mom.
Oh,
and she would like roast him on the radio.
That's awesome.
And Tool. Tool is one of my go-to bands. More of like the Undertow, Anima albums.
Did you listen to A Perfect Circle that much, or did you stray away?
No, I listened to Perfect Circle a lot. I've seen them twice.
Cool.
I really like their 13th Step album.
Yeah, 13th Step is really solid.
So I saw them touring for the 13th Step album.
Cool.
That show, James Eha was playing guitar, and I have to say, the audience was louder than the band.
That's cool.
Because if you guys haven't listened to Perfect Circle, 13th Step, it's a pretty solemn album.
It's very somber.
And the way that it's mixed is that they'll put Maynard James Keenan's voice, mix it in the mix as an instrument.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Re-listen to it. Yeah. Think of it like that. Same thing with Tool, with 10,000 Days, and Fear Inoculum. Listen to it in a sense that the way that it's mixed, that they mix him as an instrument and not as a vocalist.
Yes. So it's fascinating because his lyrics are very intentional. So I would assume he would want his vocal to be higher in the mix and not so much like here's the melody or whatever, and I'm carrying it with it.
But like Pussifer, I got into that's Maynard James Keenan's other band, like his soul, like what he wants to do when he's not under the record label of Tool.
Cool.
And that is a little out there. Some stuff I'm not really into. Shooter Jennings.
Oh
yeah.
I really like Shooter Jennings. I got to see him a couple times. And so I'm lately I've been in a Pink Floyd phase.
Oh yeah.
He should be on the Dad Rock Block.
Yeah, you probably should be. Do you know Isaiah and Carl at all?
No.
Cool. They Carl runs Black Abbey. Isaiah's like his right-hand man, I guess is the best way to put it.
Okay.
On Monday afternoons, they go down to Acme Feed and Seed and do the Dad Rock Block, where for 2 hours they just drink beer and talk about Dad Rock.
That's awesome.
So it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm like more. I
So
decided.
you do ska, but I'm sure
Isaiah
they talk.
loves Isaiah loves ska. Like,
Isaiah looks like
is
he
an
would.
upset where you're kind of like there's other music, man.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Pink Floyd, I had to I really dug into their albums and their catalog, their B-sides, and I thought about what do I actually like about Pink Floyd?
Yeah.
And with Pink Floyd fanatics, there's you're the Roger Waters or you're David Gilmour.
Yeah.
And the more that I listen to the music and I listen to the lyrics, because Roger Waters said that he's a great lyricist, then I listen to the music because David Gilmour is he can make me cry with the way that he plays guitar.
Yeah.
I'm team David Gilmour.
Yeah.
And
what's your favorite Pink Floyd album? Or which one do you listen to the most?
let's see. I have been listening pretty nonstop right now on the Division Bell.
Okay.
But of course, Dark Side of the Moon. Everybody's going to say that. I'm not crazy about The Wall.
Oh, okay.
But wish you were here. See, the thing about The Wall is that you have to really be in the mood.
You have to full commit to that double album.
Because it's such a concept album.
It's such a concept album.
But like when I'm working and I'm going through like just really zoning in, I will turn on Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, that's a very easy one to have background on.
But if you listen to the Division Bell, some people are like, this is the worst album that they ever put out because David Gilmour, blah, 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 blah. But if you listen to the lyrics, you can hear how angry that man is. And you can see how he tears apart Roger Waters and how he references other songs.
Oh, really?
In the not only the lyrics, but just the lick.
Yeah.
Like you
can catch it. Yeah. The Wall, it's fascinating actually if you overanalyze it. Disc 1 is basically, The Wall is television. So all of disc 1 is a guy whose entire life is an outsider, doesn't know where to fit in. It's like we don't need to, like, teachers leave those kids alone, like was bullied in school, got married, it was a shit marriage. Like by the end of the first disc, he's basically walled himself up with television. So there's like bits of television shows like in the background of every song. It is like steep. It is fantastic. And then the second disc is basically just all of his friends saying, "Are you in there? Is there anybody home? Is anyone in there?" And at the end of it, he has a trial inside of his own head and decides to come out of his walls and go back into society.
Yeah.
It is like, it's not, if you actually pay attention, it is not a casual listen.
It's not an album that you could put on random.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
But like other people like make commentary and say they love animals about social, and it's social commentary.
Yeah.
It's like Animal Farm and social commentary. The first if you actually have the like actual album, records, kids, like the first record, Dogs, is just the first album, and a lot of it is instrumental.
Okay.
But it's like, yeah, I get tired of the social commentary.
Yeah, of course.
And I go more for feeling, and that's why I like the David Gilmour stuff.
Yeah. Is
like even like the Longest River. I think that's what it's called, the Endless River. And it's pretty much all instrumental. But I listen to that to go to sleep.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
You know, because it's just relaxing.
Yeah.
And I read that it's about Syd Barrett. And
a lot of their songs are about Syd Barrett.
Yeah. Like the Division Bell, I read that now I can't unsee it. If you look at the cover of the Division Bell, it's supposed to look like Syd Barrett.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I need to listen. I feel like I've only background listened to Division Bell. I need to give it a real listen.
Give it a listen and like read the lyrics.
Yeah.
As he's singing it. I have to do that one to really soak it in, and you can really hear how angry it is. And he didn't write all the lyrics. I believe his wife at the time helped. Okay. And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
That's totally good. That's fine. And it helped, I think it helped get another perspective on how to use words and how to use those lyrics for your anger.
I have Wish You Were Here, Dark Side of the Moon, and The Wall all on vinyl. So big fan. It's always fun to like sit there, open up the liner notes and everything and be like, oh man, your graphic design was intentional. Like this is a story that you've told in this album. Anyway, that was a side tangent.
All right, sorry.
I
nerded out on.
I did
music.
Too. And
it was good just listening and watching you guys talk about.
Have you ever listened to a band called Girls?
No.
They basically sound like if Elvis Costello and Pink Floyd had a kid. So some of their songs are super poppy, like Elvis Costello. And then they have these phenomenal, beautiful, spacey guitar solos.
Okay, it's called
Girls is the name of the band. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost or Holy Spirit is their album. That's the best one.
Okay.
So that one is, I've listened to that album a lot.
Okay.
There's a lot of very, very fuzzy, very beautiful guitar tones.
I like fuzzy music.
I love fuzzy music. Back to the Pixies.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, now for the proper intro for how we end this episode. Okay. So how we've started ending our episodes is we used to do that whenever we record in Justin's living room or kitchen, we'd say, I think you hear your daughter crying. We should probably wrap this up. So we don't record in his house anymore. So we have to think of something else.
Okay.
So we thought of like 5 questions to ask. And Justin will ask the first one.
Awesome. All right, Jordan. What were your kids' backup names, if you had any?
Okay. Let's see. Sydney was going to be Beatrice.
Okay.
Beatrice. Okay. Is that a family name?
No.
No?
It just felt right.
We just like old names.
Yeah.
Because like Jordan and my wife's name is Jody.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jody's.
Oh man, I haven't heard of Jody in a long time.
Jody's maiden name was Schneiderman. And so she said that she couldn't fit that on like a test.
No.
So short first names. Her brother is Todd, so it's like short first names, long last name. But Jews, we name our kids after dead relatives.
Yeah.
To remember deceased relatives.
Yeah.
And so we were thinking of like names, and so Jody had an Aunt B, and we like Beatrice. She had her grandfather Sydney, so we like Sydney. And so we decided to go with Sydney.
Awesome.
Cool. That's awesome. What about for your son? Did you have any backup names for him?
Let's see. For Arthur Monster. You know, I don't know. Like we were thinking of like relatives' names, and for Sydney, her middle name is Laurel, and so in my family we use middle names as their respect to our deceased relatives.
Okay.
Cool.
And in Jody's family, they use their first name. So we said, okay, Sydney Laurel for her grandpa Sydney and her aunt Laura, and
Nice.
and then for Arthur, for the first name, we just liked Arthur. We just liked Arthur, and then for his middle name was Paul for my grandmother Pauline.
Oh, okay.
That's
and
cool.
so it was my dad's mom, and nobody else in our family has used anything for her. So we thought we would use Paul.
That's really cool. Do you have a favorite TV dad?
Peter Griffin.
Really? Nice.
That's a good one.
He's
a family guy.
Yeah.
Even Bob from Bob's Burgers, Bob Belcher.
Yes.
You know, I like those TV dads because they're keeping it real.
Yeah.
You know, and like they're saying the things that we cannot say.
Yeah.
That's true.
That our wives would kill us
They
for.
are acting the ways that what we're feeling inside. That's our catharsis. That's why we're laughing.
Yeah.
Because it is so wrong. First it was like Ted Bundy, right?
Sure. Yeah, that's true.
And then it was Homer Simpson,
Yes.
right? And I'm sure Monty Python had something in the 60s and 70s. What was like moving on up? You know, it's just like
the Jeffersons.
So he was saying things that you can't say anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that Bob Belcher and Peter Griffin are borderline that, and that's why. You know,
Cool.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
All right. Is there a TV show or movie that gets played at your house all the time that just drives you crazy?
It used to be Blippy.
Blimpy?
Blippy.
Blippy.
Remember my name, kids? Blippi. Oh my God.
Is that the guy that dresses in orange?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never watched anything of his, and
Yeah.
This is
So-
my
I
favorite
don't-
question we asked so far because every dad's reaction is they always have one that they genuinely hate, and they're so much like, oh my God, I would, like Blippy is whoever created that. I have a lot of words for them.
and Coco Melon.
Oh yeah, we stay away from Coco Melon.
Yeah. So for my kids, it was Cocos. So Coco Melon, Blippy. For my daughter, it was Sophia the First.
Oh yeah.
Sophia the First.
Oh yeah, it's a Disney princess show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
Now for my son, it's Spider-Man.
like Spidey and Friends, like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like it's like instead of Green Goblin, it's let's get Gabby.
Yeah.
And it's like
It's cutesy.
it's like where are your parents?
No.
PJ Masks is like you are sneaking out of your
You're sneaking out at
house.
night. And you're fine at school tomorrow.
Right.
You spent all night fighting Night Ninja.
Right. And it's like
They're superheroes.
They aren't. They're just regular kids, but at nighttime.
and when now like we start trying to turn on like the real Spider-Man
Oh, yeah.
or the real
Yeah.
superhero, and my son is like, I want Spidey. I'm like, this is Spidey.
This
They're
is
like-
Spidey.
And he's like, no, this isn't Spidey. I'm like, fine. And they're like, Go get Gabby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite kids toy? Like toy that your kids play with that you actually like to play with also?
No.
You're just like, oh, can I go do something else, please?
I mean, I don't.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I guess like when my daughter was growing up, she would watch Vampirina,
Okay.
and she played the Spookalele.
Okay.
Just like
And that says it all right there.
It went through so many rounds of edits. There was a board of people, all storyboarding, and they all said Spookalele. We're going to keep going with
Right.
it. We're going to
So
keep running with it.
Vampirina moved from Transylvania to Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And she was trying to fit in because she's a vampire.
As one does.
And her parents own a haunted Airbnb.
Ooh.
And so Vampirina started a band.
That kind of sounds like Hotel Transylvania.
It does a little bit.
It's all Disney.
I'm sorry.
DreamWorks.
You're okay.
And so we got her a plastic ukulele.
Yeah.
And so I think my fun was actually like getting a ukulele and just strumming along with her.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. What moment of your kid's life are you most excited to be a part of? That's a deep one.
Okay, so Saturday is my son's first soccer game.
Yeah.
And so watching 3-year-olds try to play soccer when they haven't even had a practice.
Oh.
Because why would you practice at that age?
It's like herding cats.
It really is.
And so I'm pretty excited to see that.
Yeah.
You got a video of that, man. That's going to be hilarious to watch.
I think for Sydney, she's in Girl Scouts. She just started doing Girl Scouts. So she's going on her first camping trip. And she doesn't like the outside. So I'm really interested to see how this pans out. So that's what I'm excited for too.
She's getting out of her comfort zone.
But as for like milestones, if that's what you're talking about,
it's whatever you want it to be.
For Arthur, I want him to be potty trained. Like,
oh, sure.
That's gonna be my like big thing I'm waiting
Here it
for.
comes. Yeah.
I like called up one of my friends that has a son who's older, and I was like, when you're potty training him, like, how did you prevent him from squirting across the room? and I was just like, I thought that like only a parent to another parent with a boy can ask that type of thing.
Sure. Yeah.
What'd they say?
I just taught him to hold it down.
Just push it.
Just push it
Just
down.
push it down. It'll be fine.
No.
Boys are harder to potty train, correct? Or is that just a myth?
Man,
It's just different aim.
different aim.
And
it is a definite myth. If you read, I read one potty training book that was like, why would they be harder? Just explain it to me. Why is a boy harder? And you're like, I don't know. Someone told me.
Yep.
Yeah. And as for like for Sydney, well, she's 8. I guess like when she's really confident reading.
Yeah.
Like she has confidence to really dive down and read something without having to sound it out or like, because I know that she knows how to do it because I sit down and read with her almost every night. And but it's for her to have that confidence. I think that's what I'm waiting for.
Nice. How do we find you? Do you want us to should people follow you on like Instagram? What's the best way to get in contact with you or find you?
The best way to contact me and find me is on Instagram. For East Tasty Candy Company, easttastycandy.com is my website. You can visit me on Instagram at East Tasty. And then for my full-time job, I in insurance. So if you want to hear some insightful ways to understand insurance and see what how it works, you could follow me at Jordan Tepper Insurance.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well,
Jordan,
thank you, Jordan.
Thank you so much for your
guys.
time.
This
We
was
really
fun.
appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. We really hope you enjoyed that episode. Please make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the Nashville Dads. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.